Yo, what's going on, everybody? Y'all can hear me good, right? Check. Is this thing on? Is this thing on? All right. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the No Signal Podcast with your boy Mando, man. Because it's Mando, man. Wow. What a fucking weekend. What a fucking weekend. I'm sure y'all could tell by the title. Like, little Rolling Loud recap. You know what I mean? That's going to be the title. I just, off the dome type shit. But first, I want to get into one thing. Like, let me get this basketball, stuff, already out the way. Or just, the main focus and stuff like that. This whole Ja Morant incident. And then I'll get into the whole Rolling Loud and, the little funny story times and shit like that. You already know the deal. So Ja Morant, bro, what the fuck is up with Ja Morant? Apparently, this who he's trying to be gangster and shit. He's trying to be how'd they say? Oh, we not cut from the same cloth or whatever. He trying to be that type of fabric, that type of how do you say ruggedness, not ruggedness, but you already know what I mean, the tough. He trying to be tough type shit. You know what I mean? He's trying to be, out here just wilding out and shit, just doing stupid shit that rappers do and shit. He trying to be on that shit. Bro, he's a what? Number 2 pick in the draft? Bro, you are a number 2 pick in the draft. You have no business flashing guns, hanging out with the wrong crowd, the bad dudes, the bad kids, whatever the fuck you want to say. Bro, we know your talent got you to where you're at now. All you have to do is just stay in the gym. Just stay in the gym, bro. Just stay in the gym. I seen a quote that Stephen A. Smith said something about, whatever. I'm not going to, go too deep into what he said, but he brought up Ja Morant's dad. And he brought up Ja Morant's dad and saying you got along the lines of saying you need to raise your son right, or you need to talk to your son and shit like that. Bro, Ja Morant is a fucking grown ass. He's already in the league and shit. He can make decisions for himself. He got a shitload of money. He could fucking, he bought his house and his parents' house right next door and shit. Shit like that. He knows what he's doing. It's no fucking shock. It is a shock that, yeah, there's a gun involved and all this shit, but there's no shock that, the money got to him and shit like that. You know what I mean? The money just straight away detoured his fucking career. Bro, you were fucking you got it, bro. You got it. Whatever fucking the kids want, the fucking the high vertical, the fucking chains, all the superstar player, everybody wants that. All the kids want that shit. And all you just got to do is just be a good role model and shit like that. And you go over here flashing guns and shit, thinking you gangster and shit. Come on, bro. And even all these videos coming out saying using the 8 Mile, I know something about you. And they start bringing up these little family pictures and shit. Come on, bro. He really went to a private school. He really went to a private school. And it just blows my mind that these days he's just wild, trying to fit in with the crowd that that don't even care about his basketball shit. They're just oh shit, Ja Morant from the Grizzlies, oh shit. They're gonna be hey bro, I got you on this, I got you on that, but come on now. All this shit he punched I talked about it last week. He punched the 17-year-old in a pickup game or some shit. Come on, bro. He over here flashing guns and shit. Come on now. Don't do that shit. And the gun he was holding, it looked like a little tiny ass gun. How you gonna be trying to flex all this shit with a little tiny ass gun? It was it was Pineapple Express, where he was I used this little gun when I was a prostitute. And it was a fucking gun this big, bro. That shit was small as fuck. You really jeopardizing your career for what little 15-second video on Instagram or whatever, wherever the video came out on it, like in surfaced and shit, for a little 15-second flex and shit. This is a little fucking small ass gun, bro. Like, come on now. You holding it like this. You holding it like that. Like, come on now, bro. Like, I don't know, dude. Like, I feel like the money just got to him, and like everything was coming in fast. You know what I mean? Especially this year. Especially this year, because the Grizzlies, obviously they like to talk a lot of shit. They like to talk a lot of shit. Everybody knows Dylan Brooks likes to talk a lot of shit. Ja Morant talking a lot of shit, saying, "Oh, I'm fine in the West." No, you're not fine in the West, because you can't even keep yourself in check. Like, how you gonna, you know what I mean? Like, how you gonna say, "Oh yeah, I'm fine in the West," when like you don't even worry about yourself and shit? Come on, bro. Like, yeah, the West is the least of your worries. You need to worry about yourself and the whole case you got yourself into. Supposedly, what is it, like Glendale or some shit, like police, they like didn't have no evidence, so they closed the case or some shit like that. But I seen like apparently that some shit like Ja Morant was gonna be suspended for 50 games. Like, damn, bro, like you gonna miss playoffs. You gonna miss the playoffs. You not fine in the West. Your team is fucked in the West. Come on, bro. Like, shit, dude. Fucking players, bro. Like, he needs to tell you, like, I agree with Stephen A. Smith said about, some of it, not the whole, like, bringing John Morant's dad in here. I'm just saying, like, I agree with him on saying, like, oh, you need to pick up the phone or whatever. I'm pretty sure this is what he sounded like. Oh, like, pick up the phone and, like, call Allen Iverson and see what he was going through and how he had to handle those, like, tough times and, like trials and all this shit. And what is it? Tribulations and shit like that. Yeah, bro. Like, I don't know, bro. He's just gotta. It's just weird, like seeing like a star player like this. Like, oh, bro, he just got his first signature shoe with Nike. So if Nike keeps him as a sponsored athlete and shit, how does that make them look? Like, you know what I mean? When Ja Morant over here, what is it? Ja Morant over here making more news, like headlines and shit, than Kyrie these days. You know what I mean? So like pretty much like Nike cut ties with Kyrie, whatever. Oh, he shared a link on his social media, Instagram, just to share a link, bruh. Just to share a link for, educational purposes and shit. But at the same time, like, oh, it's anti-Semitic and all this shit. Like, bro, Walt Disney was anti-Semitic. Walt Disney was anti-Semitic, and I don't see y'all canceling y'all memberships and shit. You know what I mean? So it's like, what the fuck? So Nike voided the contract with Kyrie, whatever, told him to bounce, and then they picked up Ja Morant. Oh, here, boom, here, right off the bat, here, boom, here's your first signature shoe. And what does he do? He gets like caught up, like all this shit, like, oh, supposedly him and his squad was like flashing laser like beams and shit and all that stuff. Like, come on, bro. Like, I don't even know. I'm gonna just leave it at that. Honestly, I just had to express my frustration with that shit real quick before I go off on the other topic and shit. Good water. Good water. All right, now let's get into the good, like the good shit of the podcast right now. Rolling Loud, son. Rolling Loud, LA. Rolling Loud, Cali, whatever y'all want to say. Rolling Loud, this, that. Rolling Loud, LA, bruh. Let me start off by saying, let me first start off with Friday morning up until Sunday night, like at 12:30. So it's gonna be like nothing but fucking shit happening within that time, right? So, boom, Friday, 3 in the morning, bro. Friday, wake up, whatever, eat, brush teeth, get ready, go to work, clock in at 4 on Friday, right? Whatever, do the work and all this shit, get off 12:30. And this was my first like like 3-day festival. So I was just like, fuck, like, I gotta go, like, I gotta go do this, I gotta go do that. Like, I wasn't in a rush. Like I did all the like shit I needed to do the day or 2 days before, like actually leaving on Friday and shit. So let me like start off. I got off work and the usual like route I take to come home, it was blocked off. So I had to go all the way around. I had to go farther from home just to get the freeway, just to come back. Like, bruh, that shit was a fucking bitch. I was like, yo, this is already like taking up too much time and shit. So like I came home, whatever, shit and showered, got ready real quick, ate real like something real fast, like peanut butter and jelly type shit or like whatever the fuck. Like a banana or some bullshit and something small, bro. Cause like I had to like hit the road fast, bro. Cause I did not want to miss this shit. Oh, sorry about that, mate. But so I had to hit the road like fast. All right, so I get in the truck. I pack my bags and everything. I get in the truck. My phone is like literally like on fucking 50% or some bullshit like that, bro. Like 20, 30, whatever, like 50%. Like I'm like, fuck. So I had to use like one of the, homegirls. She let me use like a portable charger and shit. So I was like charging my shit on the way there. It didn't even do anything, honestly, because I had the maps on. So I don't know if it was like canceling like the charge out or some shit like that. But it was like the same like 50% the whole like ride there. So I left the crib, put in gas, like, more than half a tank. Cause I was like, yo, if I put like, more than half, then I'm going to, be able to get there like smooth and shit. I looked up cause my hotel, the hotel I was staying at, it was like kind of like down the street from LAX. So I had to like I had to go through all that fucking traffic in LA. And you know how that shit goes. That shit is a bitch. That shit is a bitch, bro. But if y'all from LA, y'all from Cali, and y'all take trips to LA or something like that, y'all know. Y'all know the fucking bitch ass traffic out there. That shit is aggravating as fuck. That shit's annoying as fuck. Any other word that you could think of, that shit is that as fuck. But so I look on my shit, put in the address and shit. 2 hours. 2 hours to get there, bruh. 2 hours to get there. And keep in mind, this was like 1:30 type shit. Nah, not even that. It was like 2. It was like 2. It was like an hour and like 50 minutes to get there. Some bullshit. And like halfway when I was there, I was like, fuck, bro, I gotta piss like so fucking bad. And I was like, man, if I stop, then it's gonna be a bitch to like merge back on the freeway with the traffic and all this shit. So I was like, fuck it, let me just thug it out. And the whole time I don't know what I was worried about. I don't know. There was something about like something. I was just like worried or some shit. But I was just like, fuck, man. Like, I don't know. Like, I was like praying like to God and shit. I was like, or, forgive me for cursing and shit. Again, forgive me for cursing. Yo, I shit you not. I prayed. I was like, God, please, like, let us have a good day. Let us have a smooth ride, smooth travels, safe travels. Like, hopefully everything goes good. I don't have no like, like setbacks and stuff like and shit like that. And I was just like, damn, like, whatever. And say my prayer, amen. And like, I was driving and shit. I was driving or whatever. And then like, once I get the freeway, I don't know which freeway it was, but once I get like the freeway close to like Inglewood and shit like that, like right there by Watts and shit like that. You know what I mean? So I was right there and boom, that's when the traffic hit again. And I was like, damn. Cause it was like on and off. Like it was smooth. Like everyone was going and then it would slow down and then it would go and then it would slow down again. So that's just how it was in, LA traffic and shit, like towards like LAX. So I was driving and I looked to the right because I heard like music playing and shit. And it's these two white girls, bruh. It's these two white girls like dressed all like one of them, the driver, she got like her whole makeup done and shit, like face beat. And the girl on the passenger side, she got like a fucking like one of those like furry, like, furry bucket hats and shit. And I was just like, oh yeah, they going to Rolling Loud. And I was just like, Like, oh shit, like I fixed my seat and I was just like, all right, like it's go time now. Like it's go I was like, it's starting right now. Like as I seen like the cars and shit, like, the people like that were in the cars, I was like, yo, yeah, he's going to Rolling Loud. Oh, he just got off work. Oh, this guy, he got a family and shit, just like random thoughts in my head and shit. Random thoughts. So fast forward a little bit, I get to the hotel, check in. First thing I do when I get to the room, go to the fucking restroom because I had to like piss so fucking bad, bro. So I went to the restroom and handled all that shit or whatever. But I'm gonna be missing, like, I'm gonna come back to some parts, all right? So before I checked in the room, I had to park my truck like kind of blocking the cars a little bit. But the dude told me, he was like, "Oh, are you gonna move the truck again?" And I was like, "Oh, not until Sunday." And then he's like, "Oh, I was gonna say, whenever you see a parking spot opening, there was like 7 parking spots in the whole like little area because they shared a fucking parking lot with the restaurant next door and shit like that." I'm gonna get into that restaurant in a little bit. Just let me ease my way in. You know what I mean? So he was like, "Oh, are you gonna leave or whatever?" And then I was like, "Oh, not until Sunday." He's like, "Oh, whatever. If you see a parking spot open, just park right there." And I was like, "All right, bet." So that shit happens, and then he also tells me, he's like, "Oh, by the way, I turned the water off because someone blew up a toilet or something like that." And I was just like, "Oh fuck!" Like I can't even like. I showered before I left the crib, but I still wanted to like rinse like my body off and shit from all like sitting in traffic and shit like that, like face all oily and shit like that. And I couldn't even shower, bro. So like that shit happened. And like I was like, oh, like I was texting the homie at the same time. I was like, "Hey, like where you at? Like give me updates, update me and shit like that." He was like, "Oh, we about to leave right now in a couple minutes." And I was like, "Bet, let me call my Lyft or whatever." I called the Lyft. I put my name information in for the Lyft. It was like, "Oh, this guy is gonna be on his way in about 5 minutes," and it showed him like driving like that main street where the hotel was at. And I was just like, oh, all right, so I'm gonna just chill right here. And I was waiting outside, bro. Like I couldn't even shower. I already got dressed up and shit, and I headed out. And I was like waiting outside, and I seen the fucking driver dude like pass in front of me. And I look on my phone and I was like, oh shit, that's him. He's gonna bust a bitch and he's gonna pick me up right now, or he's gonna turn right here and pick me up. It said that this motherfucker canceled the ride. And I was like, bro, you fucking seen me, bro. Like, it was a white dude. So obviously, if it's a white dude and he sees a brown dude, brown kid, like fucking waiting for a ride and shit, he's obviously gonna cancel that shit, bitch ass nigga. But like, my bad, y'all. But like, yo, I looked at my phone and I was like, looking at my phone and looking at his whip. I was like, bro, like, what the fuck? Like, this fool just fucking took off. Like, and whatever. Once he turned the corner, he canceled the ride. I was like, bro, fuck this shit. So I like, it was like, oh, give us 1 to 5 minutes and we'll find the nearest driver again. So I waited out there. I waited that whole like 1 to 5 minutes or whatever. And then it was like, oh, okay, another person's coming within 7 minutes and all this shit. And then I was just like, oh, okay, all right. And by the time she dropped the person off, she was fucking driving the other way on the main street. And I was like, bitch, like, what the fuck is you doing? Like, oh my gosh, like, yo, this is exactly how it was like in my head. Like outside, I was just like, bro, what the fuck is going on? I was like, man, what the fuck is going on? But in my head, I'm like, you fucking asshole. You fucking asshole. Like, I was fucking pissed, bro. I was like heated and like in my head, in my mind and shit. But whatever, like, and I look how it was like literally a 10-minute drive from my hotel room to the stadium. So like I was like, fucking with my phone and I was like, oh, how much is it walking? 50 minutes to an hour walking. I looked and I was like, yo, what the fuck? If I like, hold on, let me look at the fucking timestamps and shit. Hold on, bro. Let me look at the timestamps and shit. This is the only thing that's gonna jog my memory and shit. All right, so the first day, day one Friday. All right, day one Friday. Oh, what the fuck? That was at the Levi's stage. Fuck. All right then. So by the time, so I was thinking, I was like, yo, like if I fucking walk over there, it's like an hour. It was like 4. So I was like, if I walk over there, it's gonna be like 5. And then by the time I get in, like the whole long ass line and shit is gonna be like 6, and I'm gonna miss like Bones and Xavier Wolf and Eddie Baker, and those are the ones I wanted to see to start off with, like to start off day one and shit. So like that shit happens, or fucking all right. I'm missing a part right here. My lift did not show up at all, but I was like literally about to walk, so I was gonna walk the shit to get there because I had no ride. So I did that. I was gonna walk, and then as soon as I got in my hotel room again, because I went back to the room to like situate the whole lift situation, and like no one showed up, so I was like, man, fuck it, I'm gonna walk. And then I get out the room, and the hotel dude is like, hey, I turned the water back on, so you're good. And I was like, oh well, I'm already dressed, like, what the fuck. And he was like, oh, you can move your truck back, someone already left. And then he pointed out, he was like, hey, I think this guy's going to Rolling Loud too. Are you going to Rolling Loud? And the dude was like, he was like, yeah. And then he was like, oh, is that all right if he rides with you? And he was like, oh yeah, you could ride with me. And I was just like, oh shit, like, dude. And right then and there, I was like, dude, God's plan. That's God's plan right there. Cause I was struggling to find a ride. I was literally about to walk my ass. And God was just like, boom, like this guy's going, boom, same hotel, boom, like here you go, boom, here, meet up, y'all met each other, boom, now y'all friends and shit like that. And we actually like, became friends and shit like that. It was pretty dope. Cause once I moved the truck and I got in the whip and in the Uber and shit, he was telling me, I was like, bro, thank you, bro, thank you. Like I was like thanking him like 3 times and shit, and he was like, yeah, no problem, bro. And I was just like, shit, you got Lyft, like. I mean, you got Lyft, you got Zelle, so I could pay you for half the Uber and shit like that. It was $20, but I paid him like, half, so 10. And, we was just like chopping it up, bro. We was just talking about little shit here and there, basketball and shit. And he's like, oh, what are you doing? I was like, oh, I work, do this and stuff. I also do YouTube on the side. And then he's like, oh shit, for real? What's your channel? And then I was like, oh, MandoMan, bada bing, bada boom. And then he like subbed up. So, homie, welcome to the channel. Name drop Zyvan. Welcome to the show, man. Straight up. I appreciate you. I appreciate you for rocking with me the first day. I know you had other shit to do the second day, and the third day you was like debating on going and whatever. So I appreciate you, bro. Straight up. So we get there, and me and this dude was walking to the venue and shit. And there's a fucking long ass line to get in. I'm not even fucking with you. Long ass fucking line to get in. It literally took us like 40 minutes in the line to an hour or whatever to get in. And by the time we got in, I looked, boom. No, I didn't. No, by the time we was like almost there, like through the line, like through the metal detectors and shit, I heard fucking Eddie Baker, Nino Brown, Nino. And I was like, bro, I'm fucking missing this, bro. Like I was so heated. I was like, bro, I'm fucking missing Eddie Baker and Xavier Wolf right now. Like, what the fuck, bro? I was like, I didn't say that like out loud, but in my head I was like, expressing my frustration and shit. But on the outside I was like, oh, is that Eddie Baker? Fuck, I'm missing that shit. I was just like, man, like fuck, dude. But either way, we got in there and I met up with the homie and everything, and I met up, or first I was walking with the dude I got the Uber with. So we was walking, looking at, the tents and stuff, the food vendors and shit. I was hungry, so I had to get in line to get me some food and shit. Got me like 3 tacos al pastor with a Gatorade or like no chata or some shit. $17, boom, down the drain already. $17 already. So like, I was like, fuck, dude, this shit's fucking expensive. Good thing I like saved up money and brought, a good amount of money like on my card and shit. Cause I was like tripping and shit about the prices. But either way, like I had fun, bro. So like the homie the dude I met with and shit, Zyvan and shit, he was like, oh, I'm about to go in the merch right now and all this shit. Yo, the line was so fucking long. I was like, yo, I'm straight on that. I'm good. And like I met up with the homie day one and shit. And as soon as I see him, this fool comes up to me like this, like 2 drinks already. You know, like one for him, one for me type shit. But he just walked up with like 2 drinks. And I'm like, you motherfucker. I'm like, bro, good looking. I'm like, I needed this shit. It was like a Four Loko. He was like, oh, it's 10% alcohol, 10% alcohol. And I was just like, fuck, you trying to get me fucked up. I was like, you trying to get me fucked up already. And like, we was just in a group. It was Day One and his girl, 2 other like homegirls that, you know, I hung out with, you know, a couple times and shit or whatever. And then, you know, one of the homegirls like brothers and shit. So like it was what, like 2, 4, yeah, plus me, it was 6 of us. It was 6 of us, right? So pretty much I spent like, you know, most of my time with that group the whole time and shit. But throughout the time there, I split up like, oh, I'm gonna go meet this person here, or I'm gonna go meet up with this person here and shit like that. You know what I mean? So when we got there, he gave me the drink and all this shit, and I was like drinking, and I was like, bro, I'm about to spark up right now. Shit, I'm about to sparked up my fucking joints and shit. I was like, shit, I'm on one, bro. Like, hell yeah. Shit. So I was already like on a good level and shit. And then the homie, he bought me another drink, the same one, the 10%. And I was just like, fuck. So like I was drinking that because we want to go see, I believe we want to go see like Ken Carson at the Go Puff. Yeah, at the Go Puff stage. So I was doing that. I was at the Go Puff stage with, you know, the homie watching Ken Carson and shit, and I was just drinking or whatever. And then I met up with some other friends, you know, other 2 homegirls and shit that I knew like since high school and shit, you know, and we always been like, you know, tight. Every now and then we just pick up right where we left off and, you know, shit like that. So, and it's funny because they always like say like, oh, have us on the podcast and shit, have us on the podcast. But I'm like, man, like, well, y'all don't know what y'all don't know what to talk about. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm thinking about it too much. But I met up with them and they was like in line for Cinnabon. And, you know, we was just like chopping it up. We was just chopping it up again. And then like one of them was like feeding me like Cinnabon and shit. And I was just like recording myself, like having a good time. Like, oh, I'm right here with my drink on a beanbag and shit, on a beanbag chair, bro. I was like, man, I'm living right now. I'm chilling. And then you just see her hand like feeding me and shit. And then here goes my sister after I posted it. She was like, who'd you go with? Who's feeding you? And all this shit like that. But after that, like I ended up like, you know, like splitting up with them and shit like that. I ended up splitting up with them. And I want to go like just walk, just like just look at the whole like what they have to offer and shit. Well, Rolling Loud has to offer and shit. I want to go check out the rides. I didn't go on them. I just looked at them and all this shit, like little statues here and there, you know, places to take pictures and shit like that. So I went to the basketball courts, and keep in mind, I'm already like off the joint, off 2 drinks and shit. So I was just like damn, with the ball in my hand, I'm like, damn, like, and I shoot, fucking missed the free throw. Goddamn. And I was just like, bro, I can never show my face here again. And then I tried to touch rim, and my drunk ass, bro, I was like, man, I can't even jump that high. I barely even like touched the net. I was like, what the fuck? Like, but that shit was funny, bro. That shit was hilarious. I had a good time still. So fast forward, during the Kodak set, this was like 8:10 type shit. This is like 8:10. So like during the Kodak set, I was in the merch line, right? I was in the merch line, like in the middle of Kodak set, and the line went pretty fast. I ain't gonna lie, but it didn't go too fast because like I missed the whole Kodak set, but I was like hearing it in the background and shit, and like looking at it through, like from the line. I was like looking at it in the distance and shit. And, you know, I was like, you know, Kodak, I like to see you in. And I was doing my little, you know, Kodak shit where you goes like, you know, that ZZ, you know, that Reebok and all this shit, whatever. But, but as, I'm not even bullshitting you, as like Kodak set went on and the line went on or whatever for the merch. And like, once I got out the line, Playboy Cardi's set was barely about to start. That's how long the line fucking for the merch took. Excuse me, y'all. Excuse me. But when I was in line, some dude, he was like tripping on me and shit. Not tripping on me, but he was like acting weird and shit because he was all like drunk and shit. And you know when motherfuckers act drunk and shit, they start acting weird. When motherfuckers get drunk, they start acting weird and shit or whatever. So like that shit happened, and he was like, "Oh, bro, can I get by real quick?" And I was like, I was literally like me and then another person next in line, and I was like, boom, to go put in the order for merch and shit. So I was like the second up next or whatever. And he was like, "Hey, bro, can I get by real quick?" And I was like, "Oh, to get by what?" He's like, "Oh, I just want to get out." And I was like, "Oh, you gonna get out or are you trying to cut?" And I was just like, talking to him like that. He's like, bro, come on, bro. I'm just like chilling, like I'm just chilling, bro. I'm just chilling. I'm like, bro, I'm chilling the same way you're chilling, bro. I'm chilling the same way you're chilling." And then he's like, "All right, bro, I respect that. I respect that." And I was like, "All right, bro. So like, all right, bro, I get you. I get you." So, respectfully, I told him, I was like, respectfully, 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 like that. I just kept saying it because I was like already like buzzing and shit. And then he was just like, "Oh, come on, bro. Like, let me just get out the line and all this shit." And I was just like, "Bro, I don't know what to tell you, but I'm right here. I don't know where you going, but I'm right here. I'm chilling right here." And then he was just like, "Oh, let me get by." And I was just like, "All right, bro." Like, and then the girls in the back of the line, in back of me in line, they knew I was alone. And the dudes in front of me, they knew I was alone. So they seen the way I handled it and shit, that how I handled the dude, like, acting like, what is it? Like, just acting weird towards me and shit. And I was just like, "All right, bro, like, whatever." And then he just walked off. And then the girls, they were just like looking at each other and shit. And I was just like, like, what, like, why y'all awkward now and shit? Like, why y'all quiet now and shit? But I ended up getting merch. I got my sister a shirt, and I got me this. It's a bandana, Rolling Loud bandana. The t-shirt I got my sister was like 35. And this I got right here is like 15. So it all came out to like what? Like 60 type shit, 50. Am I dumb? Am I dumb at math? Because the whole shit was like, the shirt was like 44 by itself. And this was like 15 on top of that. So it was like, they rounded it to the nearest, like, whatever, if you want to say. I don't know math. I'm not good at math, but I think I'm going to rock this right now, honestly. Something like this, something light. Oh. Something light. Oh. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. All right, fast forward with the story now. This is still day one. So after I got the merch and stuff, I went by myself in the Playboy Cardi mosh, bro. I went by myself in the mosh. It was fucking lit. I ain't get that lit, that fucking turn in a mosh since high school, bro. Since fucking high school, honestly. That was a sick ass fucking mosh. Like, damn, like right as soon as I got out the line, I went to go use the restroom. After the restroom, I went to see Cardi set. I went to go see Cardi set. And literally, as soon as I get out the porta potty, I just see people running, fucking running, a shitload of people. And I was just like, oh, fuck. Like, and if y'all was there at Rolling Loud, y'all know how much fucking people there were. There was a shitload of fucking people, a fuck ton of people, yo. Like, damn, that shit was crazy. But it was crazy because I seen everybody running and I was like, yo, what the fuck they running? And then I realized, I was like, oh shit, like Cardi's performing right now. And me, y'all know me. Y'all know like I'm not that big of a Cardi fan and shit like that. But that night, bro, I just got transitioned, not transgendered, but transitioned to a Cardi fan, honestly. Like he played a couple songs and they cut it. And they waited and all this shit. And I was just like, bro, there's no way like that's the end. There's no fucking way that's the end of the show. And whatever, he came back out saying all this stuff. They try to cut me off. I'm not fucking going. Or something like that. He's like, I'm not fucking leaving. I'm not gonna fucking stop. He said something like that. But one of the songs, bro, this shit is like in my eyes, bro. And one of the songs, it was like so, I look funny now. And one of the songs, bro, he was like so fucking like hyped, bro. One of the songs, he was so hyped. I think it was like R.I.P. or some shit. I think that's what it's called. But there was one song, he was like, wah, wah, like just screaming and shit. And then he's like, I can't hear you. And I was like, like I was fucking screaming, bro. I was like, like bro, this shit was like so fucking hype, bro. And I was like next to like some randoms, bro. Everybody, like, if you by yourself, obviously you're gonna be next to randoms. So I was with some randoms, and like this dude, he was like, once Location came on, everybody was like, oh, and he was like, I don't think I've heard this song. And I was like, what? I was like, what? Like, cause you can't hear anything. So I was like, what? And he's like, I don't think I heard this song. And I was like, are you serious? And I was like, Location. I was like, are you serious? It's Location. Location. He's like, Location. And I was like, yeah. I was like, this your first time hearing this? And he was like, yeah. And I was like, oh shit, you got to enjoy this one. And then it was like, boom, boom, you're going to hop in my car. And I was just like screaming that. I told him, I was like, you got to enjoy this one. And once the beat dropped, I was like, you're going to hop in my car. Bentley could ride it with stars. And I was just fucking jumping crazy, bro. Fuck. But that was the first night. And after that, I met up with the homie from the hotel, Zyvan. And we plan on like getting an Uber back to the hotel and shit. Whatever. The Uber was like $50 for a fucking 10-minute ride. So we was like, oh, okay, let's walk a mile to see how long it is. And it was like, oh, all right then. And he was like, oh, okay, let's try again. And then boom, it was still 40. He's like, oh, okay, let's walk another mile to see how far it is. He's like, oh, it's still like you know, like fucking $35 or whatever. And he was like, fuck it, let's just mob it. And I was like, fuck it, how far is the walk? Cause we were walking like already a mile or two or whatever. He was like, oh shit, it says 40 minutes. Oh, but we could get there before 1. We could get there before, you know, this time and stuff. And I was like, shit, fuck it, let's go. So we start going and we're walking. We're speed fucking walking, bro. We're speed walking and shit. So whatever. We get to the hotel. Boom. All right. Good night, bro. Later. And that was it for day 1. The next day I wake up like 10:30 and I was fucking hungry, dehydrated and shit. So I start, you know, getting the water from the vending machine and I go get some food from that Greek place next door and shit. Yo, I shouldn't have got shit, bro. I shouldn't have got shit. Like, cause the place over there, the dude, I was like, oh yeah, let me get like a cheeseburger or whatever. He's like, oh no. It was a Greek place. Like, so they have like food that's like named like, you know, different and shit. So I was like, oh, let me get a cheeseburger. He's like, no cheeseburger. Cheeseburger is going to take you 20 to 30 minutes to make. I suggest this right here, these gyro, whatever. And I was like, bro, whatever. Like, fucking give me whatever, bro. Like, I was just like, you already like trying to pick what the fuck to eat when I clearly wanted just a normal cheeseburger and shit. And you over here picking some extra shit and stuff like that. But whatever, fast forward. I ate half, but I fucked up the fries. So I ate half the food, but I fucked up the fries. And then the homie, day 1 homie, he was like, oh, come over here. We getting ready so we can all dip together and shit like that. And I was like, all right, bet. So I get an Uber, Lyft, whatever. I get a Lyft there. And it was, you know, boom, it was fast. Got there and everything. And, you know, I was just chilling there for a little bit. And it was like I guess it was like the homie's girlfriend's sister's friend's house, you know, fucking weird shit, bro. Like, oh, this person's house. And I was just like, oh, all right, so whatever. Bro, I guess it was like some lady. And then she was like real, like, you know, like one of those ladies that, oh my God, like, yeah, like they talk like that and shit. And I'm just like, fuck, like, all right then, like, shit. So, and her kids were like running around the house and shit, fucking bong on the table and shit. And I'm just like, yo, what the fuck is going on? And I heard her ask, like, you want a bowl? And then I was just on my phone and I was just like, I heard it, but I didn't think she was talking to me. And then the homie was like, Mando. And I was like, what's up? She's like, did you want a bowl? And I was like, oh, like, I was like, oh, no, I'm fine. Like, I was like, oh, I'm sure I got some joints or whatever. And then she's like, oh, no, it's fine. Like, come over here. It's fine. Like, and I was like, all right, then whatever. So she's like, oh, but just blow it this way. And I was like, all right. So fucking light it. And then like took my hit and shit or whatever. And then there's still kids running around. I'm like, yo, like, what the fuck is going on? Like, you know what I mean? So I was just like tripping and shit. So whatever, fast forward, we get to the venue. We get to the, you know, stadium and shit. And right away, I get some masala fries because I'm fucking hungry because I barely even touched the fucking gyro in the morning and shit or whatever. So I get some masala fries with an horchata, and that shit was fire. So we waited. Once we got there, we waited for what's his name to go up. Yo, my phone's gonna fucking die or what the fuck, bro? My phone, bro. What the fuck is wrong with this shit? My phone battery fucking sucks cack. So we get there. We get there to see RJ. RJMRLA, whatever. And so we see RJ. After RJ, we seen Kevin Gates. And we just seen Kevin Gates just to kill time. And after Kevin Gates, I went on like the swings and shit. The swings that take you around. That shit was fire. While Kevin Gates was performing and shit. So I seen that. And then we go to the main stage, the Levi stage, to see Lil Baby and Travis Scott and shit. But within that time, we were just like meeting up with other friends and shit, getting something to eat or some shit. And we went to the basketball courts, the little Culture Kings, court and shit like that. And that's the TikTok I posted on my TikTok and shit. Y'all don't know my TikTok. It's Uncle Mando, as always, Uncle Mando 7. So we was getting shots up, and my shot was smooth, bro. My shot was smooth that day. And I don't know what the fuck it was, but my shit was smooth. So I think after Kevin Gates, I was with, I don't know where I went. I was by myself at one point. And then I was on the phone asking the homie, hey, where you at? Like, let's meet up and shit. And I guess I seen at the corner of my eye some dude like doing one of those like, little interviews and shit like that, interviewing the fans and shit. And I guess like the camera dude, I seen the camera dude and the camera was like facing me. So the girls like they turned their back on the cameraman and they looked at the dude interviewing them. And this bitch flashed her tits. And I was on the phone with the homie and he was like talking to me and I was like, oh, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. And I just kept saying like, damn, that's crazy. And the lady in front, she heard me. And then she turned around. She's like, oh, you seen that too? You seen that too? And I was like, yeah, I seen that too. Like, shit, like what the fuck? And then she was like, oh, I was just trying to get something to eat. And then I just seen some titties. And I was like, oh my gosh. And all this shit. And I was like, oh, like, and then again, me and the girl, we was just chopping it up. We was just chopping it up and shit. And then she was like, oh, something. Well, I have to go get something to eat. Like, she worked there. She worked there. So she's like, I have to get something to eat to go back to work. And I was like, oh, all right then. Well, all right then. And then she was like, oh, do you have Snapchat? And I was like, no, I don't have Snapchat. I only got Instagram. She's like, oh, I don't have Instagram, boy. She told me like that. She's like, I don't have Instagram, boy. And I was just like, oh, shit. All right, well, shit. And she's like, oh, she was like, oh, here, get my number. And I was like, oh, say less. Like, I didn't even try. I was just saying like, oh, you don't got Instagram? Then, all right, then. She's like, here, get my number. And I texted her, bro, like, this is like, I'm taking a huge leap right now. I texted her like Monday and shit. And she was like, oh, who's this? Like, whatever. And I was like, oh, it's Mando from Only Loud or whatever. And then she's like, I don't remember giving you my number. I don't remember seeing you. Oh, send me a picture of how you look or whatever. And I was like, all right, well, this is the picture, the outfit and shit that I wore when I seen you. And then like, we was just like just still talking and shit, like cracking jokes or whatever. And then like, I just like texted her like, oh, like sub to my YouTube and shit. And then she laughed at it. And I was like, whatever, bro. Like, what the fuck? Like, you really got the audacity and shit. But either way, after that shit, I seen Lil Baby. Hell yeah, bro. He was going off. And then I met with the homie to watch Travis Scott and shit. Cause I thought me and him was gonna rage and shit, but he was with his girl, so he had to like protect her from the mosh and shit. And then one of the other like homegirls that went with us in the group, she was like, oh, like, like, oh, protect me and all this shit. And I was just like in back of her and stuff. And then she kept like reaching her arm back to like hold my hand to, or like pull me closer and shit. And I was just like, oh, like she wants me like close type shit. And like I really didn't enjoy I really couldn't enjoy the Travis shit because I wanted to rage and shit. I wanted to rage, bruh. So I couldn't really enjoy the Travis show. So yeah, that shit happened. And like fuck, bro. Yeah, after the Travis shit, we didn't even see Lil Wayne. We left and shit. We left home. And I didn't even go back to the hotel room, bro. Like I got a ride back to their place back to where they were staying at the, you know, sisters, girlfriend, sisters, friends, whatever house and shit like that. And yo, they was up till like fucking 4, 6 in the morning taking shots, bro. I couldn't even fucking sleep. I was so fucking uncomfortable. And obviously it's not my house and shit. So I can't really say like, yo, like let me sleep type shit. You know, it's not my house and shit. But at the same time, I was like so like fucking like irked, bro. Like I was like, bro, like, and the girl like that, you know, was like pulling me and shit. Like she slept on the couch and I ended up sleeping on the couch with her. Like I used like her ass as a pillow and shit like that. I didn't have no pillow. Like honestly, I had to use her ass as a pillow. Like honestly, bro, straight up. But um, and like throughout the whole night, like they just kept like waking me up, like just random stuff. Like, hey, Mando, you got a lighter? Or they would like laugh like super loud, and I'll just be like, man, like what the fuck? Like ain't nothing that funny. Like ain't nothing that funny. And I seen like, oh, the homie right here, he's sleeping. Oh, this girl's over here, she's sleeping. Like why aren't y'all sleeping? Like I was just like asking myself so much questions and shit. And I couldn't even sleep, bro. So like this was Saturday night. So Sunday in the morning, I had to like check out of my hotel. So like I got the most hours I could sleep in. And I got an Uber like early in the morning, like fucking 9 in the morning, bro, to like take me back to the hotel, get my shit, load up the truck with my bags and stuff, check out or whatever. And I told the lady, I was just like, hey, like the shower don't work, bro. Like I tried to take a shower there and I was like, bro, the shower don't work, bro. Like, and she was like, oh, you have to pull it. And I was like, I pulled it and shit still didn't work. And she's like, oh, I could show you. And I was like, yo, it's too late now. I'm already done. Like, I'm already trying to check out and shit. Like, I was already like, you know, bugged out and shit from not getting too much sleep last night. So, like I get my truck and I was like, had my bags in it and shit. And I was like headed back to the home where the homie was staying at that house. And I get Carl's Jr. on the way there because I was fucking hungry, bro. I was like, I need to eat right now. So I get something to eat. And then like whatever, fast forward, they start waking up. Oh, who got Carl's Jr.? Who got this? And I was like, me. And then they're like, oh, you didn't get us nothing? And I was just like, man, I'm not waiting for y'all. Like, y'all didn't even let me sleep. Like, fuck y'all, man. Like, I ain't finna, if I offer for one, I have to offer for everybody and shit. Like, but, you know, the girl that was like holding, like, you know, holding my hand and shit or whatever, like bringing me closer, like, she, like, was awake. And I think she got bothered that I bought myself something and I didn't offer her anything. But that's my, like, that's what I think. You know, that's my thought. So whatever, fast forward, they get an Uber. I actually take the truck to Rolling Loud because I was about to dip back home after the whole like show ended and shit. After the Uzi set, I had to come back home. I had to sacrifice the future shit. I had to sacrifice the future set to come back home early in time, get some amount of sleep, wake up the next morning, come back to work on Monday and shit. But on Friday, it was like, I mean, Sunday, it was just like weird, bro. Cause like, all right, I had to take the girl home. So like she was riding with me and shit. And going there, it was like kind of like quiet-ish or whatever. But like she was like, you know, like giving me directions like, oh, turn here, turn there, whatever. And I was like trying to like make conversation and shit. Like I would say something and she'll like answer and then it will be like, boom, end of conversation. Like she wouldn't ask anything else or like, you know, add on to like her question or her answer and shit like that. So I was just like, all right. Like I was just like, like weirded out and shit. But once we got in, like my knee was fucking hurting. And I think it was from waiting for RJ like the night before. But fuck, dude, that shit was bugging the fuck out of me, bro. Like honestly. So like we get there and we watch like, I think the first one we watched was like, what's his name? It's not like, cause we was like waiting for D Savage, bro. Yeah, Culture Kings, bro. 435 D Savage went on. 435 D Savage went on. So after D Savage, we went to Callan FR for real. Callan for real. So they went to go see that. And I don't really listen to his music, so I was just like, oh, whatever. So I ended up like trying to link up with some other friends, and then they were like, "Oh, my phone was like getting shitty service," and I was like, "Fuck!" Like I can't even text them to meet anywhere or anything. So I was just by myself for like a good like solid hour and a half, just walking by myself, right? Like random as fuck. So I was going like just walking and shit. Oh no! After the D Savage, they went to go see Kalan, but I want to go see Ice Spice. You know what I mean? So I want to go see Ice Spice. Like, you thought I was feeling you? Yo, I wanted to go up to a random girl and be like, yo, you know what's funny about this song? And then she would have been like, oh, like what? And I would have been like, cause you thought I was feeling you? And then just like tell her like that. And then she'll be like, haha, so funny. Like, you know, like shit like that. But whatever and shit. So after Ice Spice, I was by myself for a minute and I was just like, damn, like, fuck, trying to meet up with old like high school friends and shit that were there. And my phone was getting shitty service or whatever. So like I ended up like going by myself, like somewhere like in the cut, like right there by the little like water fountain and shit, the little pond that they have, like body of water. And I was just like, you know, gonna light up a joint. And as I was gonna light up a joint, I seen another friend that I knew from high school, and I was like, oh, what the fuck? So I walked up to her and I was like, hey, I know you. I know you. And she see me, and then she was like, no, I don't. No, I don't. And then but the dude she was with, like, you know, he remembered me because I was just like, oh, like, bro, like, what's good? Like, like talking to him and shit. But like, besides that, I was like, I was by myself and shit. So I chopped it up with them and they were like, oh, we forgot our blunts, or like they ended up dropping the blunts or they forgot them. And I was just like, bruh, like, how the fuck you gonna forget the blunts and shit? That's tough. That's tough for real. But either way, after I met up with them, then I like kicked it by myself, sparked the joint or whatever, just smoked my shit, just chilling, bro. Excuse me. Damn, excuse me, bro. My bad. But either way, after that shit, all that shit or whatever, I ended up, ended up meeting those old high school friends, and we saw, what's that shit? Who did we see? We saw fucking, not OT Genesis, but we saw like, Moneybag Yo. We saw Moneybag Yo. Moneybag Yo and OGZ. OGZ. I seen OGZ with one of the dudes and all this stuff. We was just catching up, man. We was just honestly catching up. Like I haven't seen him in so long. I was just like, bro, like, and he's like a whole like wholesome type person because he's like, like he's like gay. If I don't want to say it like that, but he's like, that type of real open people and shit, real open minded. So I was just like, bro, like, damn, I haven't seen you in so long. And then I was just like chopping it up with him, and it was just a good time, man. So after OGZ, we went to go see fucking Lil Uzi. No, wait, not after OGZ. We saw Moneybag Yo, OGZ. And then that's when I went to... Oh, yeah, that's when we ended up meeting up with other, friends and shit like that within that time. So after that, we went to go see Lil Uzi and shit. And I told him, hey, after the Lil Uzi show, then I'm going to, dip out and shit. I'm going to head home. So whatever, like the part of the crowd I was at, that shit was whack, bro. No one was fucking vibing to Uzi. I was the only one vibing to Uzi. I was like, fuck, from the back, hit her once. That's a rack. And nobody was fucking saying the words. The only time fucking like some dude... Like he was like once he started, I just want to rock. Once he started, I just want to rock. Then everybody, oh, I know this. Like some dude that he was like right next to me, and he fucking like got mad close in front of me, and I was just like, bro, like you really like, what difference does it make from being over here to being right in front of me, bro? Like, what the fuck? And I was just like already heated about that. And then once I Just Want to Rock started, he pulled out his phone and he started recording it. And then he goes like this. And once the beat drops, he goes like, yeah, like he's fucking throwing his phone like all stupid. I'm like, bro, you're not even recording this shit right. Like those type of people, I'm like, yo, get the fuck on, bro. Like, get the fuck on, honestly. I hate those type of people. I hate those type of people that be at the shows, bro. Straight up. I hate that shit so much. But after that, after the Uzi show, I had to take, homegirl back home and shit because she lives like on the way where I live at and shit. So whatever, bada bing, bada boom. I call her up. I'm like, hey, meet me right here by the middle finger and all this shit. Y'all know the middle finger. Everybody was meeting by the middle finger. So I was like, meet me by the middle finger. Oh, don't in the middle, like not in the middle of that, like throughout the weekend and shit. I saw the minorities. Y'all know the minorities. The fucking what's his name? Jason and Zeb and all this shit. Bro, I seen them. I actually dapped one up, and I seen them Friday. So like on Saturday or Sunday Sunday when I got there, I seen them already making their videos and shit, and I was just like, what the fuck? I was like, damn. I was like tripping and shit. I was like, oh shit. I kind of wanted to be in the video to like shout my shit out, but I was like, yeah, I'm not finna be one of those guys, bro. I'm not finna be one of them. So whatever. Back to the story. I called homegirl up and I was like, hey, like come over here, whatever. Meet me right here. And like we met up and we was walking through the crowd, and I try to be, like nice and shit. I try to reach my hand back to like hold her hand to like get through the crowd like faster and shit, because I don't want to lose her through the crowd. And then she starts saying all this stuff. She's like, oh, you just want an excuse to hold my hand. And I was like, what the fuck? Like, you just wasn't asking me to hold your hand to like comfort you during the Travis shit. So I was just like, man, like whatever. Like I'm not even gonna bother. And then I was just like, oh, like I want to get a Cinnabon before we leave. And then she's like, no, you're not gonna get a Cinnabon. Like already raising her voice and shit. And I was just like, bro, like it's a Cinnabon, bro. Like let me get a Cinnabon and all this shit. And then she's like, no, you can get one at the mall tomorrow. You can really get one at the mall tomorrow. And I was just like, damn, all right then. Like what the fuck? All right, like whatever. And then like on the way to the car, on the way to the truck and shit, whatever, I was asking her questions. No, Mando from the No Signal podcast gonna ask podcast questions. So I was like, yo, how'd you feel about, this? How'd you feel about this performance? What was your favorite part of the whole like experience and shit? And like, again, like she would answer and then add nothing on. Like she would answer and then it would just be dead quiet. So I was just like, all right, then whatever. So like, we get in the truck and I was like, man, I'm thirsty. I'm gonna stop somewhere and get something to drink. And then she's like, oh yeah, me too. I'm thirsty. So we ended up stopping at a McDonald's and shit. And I ended up getting myself 2 double cheeseburgers because I was fucking hungry, bro. I was fucking hungry the whole time. Every time I'm hungry. Like right now I'm hungry, bro. Honestly. So that shit happens, whatever. And the whole car ride home was dead quiet. And I was like, fuck, bro. Like what I do? I was like, what did I do? Like for her to be like quiet, she got to be mad about something, bro. So I was just like, you know what? Like I'm not even gonna bother. I'm not even gonna bother like asking her like, oh, what's wrong? Like why are you so quiet and shit like that? Because I like what do I have to like worry about? You know what I mean? So whatever, I dropped her off and came home. Got home like at 11:30, bro. 11:15 or 11:30 type shit. Literally dropped my bags off as soon as I walked in. Slept on the couch. Had to wake up like at 11:30. Slept at 11:30 or 12, whatever. Woke up and I had to go to work like at 4 a.m. and shit. So I was like, fuck. I was like zombie mode the whole Monday and shit. I was zombie mode. That shit was crazy, bro. What a fucking experience, bro. Rolling Loud. I would do that shit all over again. I would change certain things, like, going into the mosh and the Travis show, but at the same time, like, I had a fun experience, man. I had a fun overall dope experience. Rolling Loud, bro. Now it's time to get into the Lakers segment of the show. OKC and Lakers last week. I believe it was on Wednesday when I posted the podcast. Dennis Schroeder carrying the team. 26 points, 6 assists, 2 steals. Troy Brown Jr., solid 19 points. Rui, almost a double-double, 9 points, 9 rebounds, 3 blocks. Good shit. And on the OKC side, Jalen Williams, 24 points, 7 assists, and 2 steals. And Josh Giddey, 2 points, 9 rebounds, 11 assists. Lou Dort, 19 points. 19 points, that's it. That's their, Leading scorers right there. Lakers shot 45% from three. That's good shit. Lakers had more blocks and more points off turnovers. Good shit. That's what I love to hear. On the Minnesota game on Friday, this was ours to win. We were literally right there. I feel like AD got shut down rebound-wise to Rudy Gobert. Because, like, how you get, or I'm not even going to say how, but I'm just saying, like, AD, 38 points, solid. We needed that. 5 rebounds, just 5, and 2 blocks. Malik Beasley, 15 points, 8 rebounds. Lonnie Walker, 10 points, 5 rebounds off the bench. And you got Gobert, 22 points, 14 rebound, double-double. Anthony Edwards, 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 steals. Damn. 4 steals. Naz Reid. I like Naz Reid, bro. I like Naz Reid's game. 15 points, 8 rebounds. Of course, LA got out-rebounded. Wolves had more blocks and assists and steals. More than the Lakers. And I believe this is what, not Friday's game, Sunday's game. Yeah, Sunday's game. AD, 39 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, and 2 blocks. That's what I love to hear. Reeves, 16 points and 8 assists. Troy Brown Jr., 14 points and 8 rebounds. Steph Curry, first game back from injury, 27 solid points. Shot a rough 5 for 13 from 3-point, 38%. 6 assists to go along with that. Klay Thompson, 22 points, 5 rebounds. Draymond Green, 15 points, 8 rebounds. Lakers had more assists, total rebounds, and steals, but gave up 16 points off just turnovers. And just last night's game, Tuesday's game, Powell's jersey retirement. Thank you, Powell. Forever a Laker legend. I love the fact that when you look up at the jerseys, it's Shaq and Kobe. And Kobe and Powell. You know what I mean? It's Shaq to go along with number 8, Froby. You know what I mean? The number 8, Froby. And then you got Kobe, 24, to go next to, Pau Gasol, 16, Pau Gasol. I noticed that last night, and I was just like, man, I love that. That's a solid, like, just because Kobe is, boom, he's in the middle of both of them. Like, Kobe is the Lakers, bro. Like, that's what I thought, you know what I mean? I might just be, like, blowing it out of proportion and shit, but that's what I was, like, aiming at and shit or whatever. But Powell's jersey retirement, and what numbers AD put up? Good shit. 30 points, 22 rebounds, and 2 blocks, bro. That's how you play. That's how you play like a power forward. That's how you play like a Pau Gasol, for real. And this is a stat that I loved right here so much. Schroeder, Rui, and Reeves, all 17 points each. I love that shit. So each one contributed in their own way. You know what I mean? Just anytime you get 3 players with 15 plus points, or in other teams or whatever, yeah, just whatever, 3 players with 15 plus points, like off the bench or whatever, boom, solid. That's all you need right there. That's a guaranteed win, pretty much. And Jaren Jackson Jr. on the Memphis side, 26 points, 8 rebounds. Tyus Jones, 16 points. Dylan Brooks, 13 points. Lakers only made 7 3-pointers the whole game. Lakers got outdid on steals and blocks. Lakers beat in almost all statistical categories. And it's like that. It's like that, y'all. That's all I love to hear. Yo, during the fucking Cardi set, bro, like I lost my mind, bro. Another fucking one performer that I knew of him, but I didn't really dive deep into his music. D Savage. I'm more of a fan now. I'm more of you gained a fan now, bro. Honestly, bro. I ain't even go front. I ain't even go front. So I feel like we could end it off on a little D Savage instrumental one time for the one time. That's gonna be it for today's episode, y'all. This is a long episode, I know, but I had a lot of shit to talk about. I had a lot of shit to update y'all with. Hope y'all enjoy it. Be sure to follow me on my socials, Instagram, Twitter, same as always. No Signal Mando. TikTok, Uncle Mondo 7. You can find this for the listeners on Spotify, No Signal Podcast. And also find me streaming on Kick, bro. Also find me streaming on Kick, Being Mando on Kick. Yes, sir. I feel like we can wrap it up here. As always, love yourself before you love anyone else. Peace and one love, man. Straight up.